In the Heian period, around the 900s, Muzan was born into what would later become the Ubuyashiki Clan. From a young age, he was sickly and detached, viewing those around him as insignificant bugs. Muzan killed the doctor trying to cure him with blue spider lilies, unaware the medicine was working. The treatment left him unable to walk in sunlight, his greatest weakness. The Ubuyashiki clan inherited a curse from Muzan, forcing them to dedicate themselves to destroying him. To survive, the clan married off daughters and even disguised sons in feminine clothing to trick the curse. Muzan then began his quest to find the blue spider lily, believing that if his doctor had completed the cure, he would have become a full demon, no longer vulnerable to sunlight. He also started creating many demons, hoping that one of them would develop the trait to resist the sun. The Ubuyashiki clan formed the Demon Slayer Corps to kill Muzan, and in doing so eliminate all demons from the world, hoping to lift the curse that had been plaguing their family. During this period, the Demon Slayers had no specialized breathing techniques to aid them in battle. They primarily relied on luring demons into sunlight, exploiting their natural weakness. This strategy continued for 200 years, during which the Demon Slayers also began forging the Nichirin blades. Nichirin blades are special swords specifically designed to kill demons. They are forged from a unique ore that constantly absorbs sunlight, the primary weakness of demons. When a demon is struck by a Nichirin blade, they are severely injured or killed, even if they normally have regenerative abilities. 300 years later, one of the most important events in the whole story occurred: the birth of the twin brothers Yoriichi and Michikatsu Tsugikuni. Yoriichi was born with a burn mark and considered a bad omen. His father wanted to kill him before he reached the age of 2, but his mother, Akeno Tsugikuni, intervened and saved him. Yoriichi remained silent for years and was assumed to be deaf, but in reality he chose not to speak so as to not trouble his father. On his 7th year, his mother prayed to the sun god to restore his hearing and gave him the Hanafuda earrings. This was the first time Yoriichi ever spoke. Meanwhile, Michikatsu spent his time training under his father's guidance to inherit the clan. During one training session, Yoriichi joined and effortlessly defeated the instructor. Their father began favoring Yoriichi as the clan's successor, prompting Yoriichi at the age of 8 to flee home to allow Michikatsu to inherit the clan. Yoriichi then met Uta, a crying girl who had lost everything to a disease that claimed her family. He began living with her, and over the next 10 years they lived together, during which Yoriichi developed the first breathing style, the sun breathing style. When they both reached the age of 18, they decided to marry, and Uta became pregnant. Yoriichi went in search of someone to assist with the birth, but upon returning, he discovered that Uta had been killed by a demon. Overcome with grief, Yoriichi clung to her corpse for 10 days, until the ancestor of the Rengoku clan approached him and revealed who was responsible. Yoriichi decided to join the Demon Slayer Corps, where he began teaching the sun breathing style to others. Sun breathing was the first breathing style created by Yoriichi Tsugikuni. It was considered the most perfect form of combat against demons, as it mimicked the power of the sun itself, the greatest weakness of demons. However, the style was extremely difficult to master, and most swordsmen who attempted it could not fully succeed. Over time, Yoriichi students and later generations adapted parts of the style to suit their own strengths and weaknesses. From this evolution, 5 main breathing styles emerged. Water breathing is smooth and adaptable, flowing like water. Flame breathing is powerful and relentless, striking with unyielding force. Wind breathing is fast and unpredictable, like a gust of wind. Stone breathing is heavy and strong, like the solidity of the earth. Thunder breathing is sharp and quick, striking like lightning. Yoriichi once saved his brother Michikatsu from a demon, killing it with a single strike. After this, Michikatsu abandoned his family to join the Demon Slayers, driven by his greed to surpass Yoriichi. He created moon breathing but could never master sun breathing. Although he gained the Demon Slayer mark, he feared the shortened lifespan that came with it. Sumiyoshi and Suyako Kamado lived in Yoriichi's old home, saving many people from demons. When a demon attacked while Suyako was pregnant, Yoriichi appeared, slaying the demon and bringing a midwife. Their daughter Sumire was born the next day. Michikatsu, desperate to escape death, turned to Muzan and became Kokushibo. Soon after, Yoriichi faced Muzan in battle. Using the transparent world, he saw through Muzan, revealing 7 hearts and 5 brains shifting inside his body. Yoriichi combined all sun-breathing forms into a single strike, cutting through them all and leaving Muzan unable to heal. His body split into 1,800 pieces. Yoriichi destroyed most, but 300 escaped, allowing Muzan to regenerate and forever fear him. After the fight, the Demon Slayer Corps learned that Michikatsu had become a demon. Some demand Yoriichi's death for failing, but the young Ubuyashiki of the time spared him, exiling him instead and giving him the mission to kill his brother. Later, Yoriichi visited Sumiyoshi and Suyako, sharing his story, demonstrating sun breathing, and leaving behind his Hanafuda earrings while keeping only Michikatsu's flute and the scrap of Uta's kimono. At 80 years old, Yoriichi finally faced Kokushibo. He cut his brother's throat in a single strike, but before he could finish him, Yoriichi died standing of old age. Enraged, Kokushibo struck his corpse and he saw the flute he had once given his brother. Hakuji, later known as Akaza, grew up in the slums of Edo. At 11, he stole to buy medicine for his sick father but was caught, beaten, and branded as a demon child. When he returned home, his father had taken his own to save him from a criminal path. Lost and furious, Hakuji wandered, picking fights and nearly killing 7 men. He was eventually defeated by Keizo, a dojo master who, instead of punishing him, took him in to care for his ill daughter, Koyuki. Hakuji found love, a family, and a future at the Soryu dojo, but it was all ripped away when rivals poisoned Koyuki and Keizo. Enraged, he annihilated 67 men with his bare hands. Muzan saw the massacre and turned him into Akaza, upper rank 3 of the 12 Kizuki. Hantengo lived a life of crime, stealing and murdering while insisting his hand, not he, were guilty. He killed his own wives and children, always painting himself as the victim. Finally captured and sentenced to death, he was saved by Muzan's blood, transforming into a demon. Born in 1763 with pale hair and shifting eyes, Doma was worshipped as a divine child by age 5. Though he felt nothing for his followers' suffering, to him gods and paradise were human lies. When his mother killed his father and then herself, Doma shed no tears, only irritation at the mess and stench of blood. The siblings Gyutaro and Ume were born in the filth of the entertainment district. Their mother, a broken prostitute who turned her knife on herself and her son more than once. Their father was unknown. Doma, at 20, drank Muzan's blood without hesitation, turning his faith into a cult of consumption, devouring followers who begged him for salvation. Elsewhere, Ume lashed out at a samurai and was burned alive in revenge. Gyutaro slaughtered her killers before finding her dying body. He then encountered Doma, who offered them Muzan's blood. They accepted, transforming into the 6th of the 12 Kizuki. Managi, a village boy, became obsessed with death when his parents were lost to the sea. Shunned as a result of his obsession, Managi became wicked and eventually slew a child. The villagers put him to the sword, and they let him bleed to death by the seashore. Just before death, Muzan showed up and gave him his blood, which converted Managi into Gyokko, Upper Moon 5. Nakime began as a struggling biwa player, abused and exploited by her husband until she killed him in desperation. Discovering that murder deepened the haunting power of her music, she turned killing into a ritual, her fame growing with each death. When she attempted to claim Muzan as a victim, he instead offered her his blood, transforming her into a demon and making her one of his most trusted servants, summoning the 12 moons with her strings. Jigoro Kawajima and Sakonji Orokodaki were born men who would one day hold the titles of the Thunder and Water Hashira. In the year 1860, Shinjuro Rengoku came into the world. In the year 1889, Gyomei Himejima was born, an orphan raised among temple children. he would go on to become the Stone Hashira. In 1892, Kagaya Ubuyashiki was born, heir to the cursed bloodline, and in that same year, Tengen Uzui was born into a clan of shinobi. In 1894, Gyu Tomioka, Obanai Iguru, Sanemi Shinozugawa, Kanae Kocho were born. One year later brought forth Kyojuro Rengoku, first son of Ruka and Shinjuru, heir to the Flame Hashira. Also Mitsuri Kanroji was born in this year. Two years later, Shinobu Kocho entered the world, younger sister to Kanae. And in this same year, we saw the birth of Kanao Tsuyori, who opened her eyes into chains and abuse only to be rescued by the Kocho sister. Tanjiro Kamado was born, eldest of 5 in a family of charcoal burners, and 2 years later, Zenitsu was born. A year later, Inosuke was born. His father was cruel, and his desperate mother sought refuge with Doma's cult. When she discovered its horror, she fled and to save her baby, threw him from a cliff. The infant survived and was raised by wild boars. Again, 1 year later, the twins Moichiro and Yuichiro Tokuto were born, children of a woodcutter.